How long can we watch Velma before it gets annoying?
My name is Velma Dinkley, and this is my origin story.
That's 15 seconds. Yeah, great, an origin story where I get to see you be weak, pathetic, and pitiful for 2 hours. Or in Velma's case, her entire life.
Normally, origin stories are about tall, handsome guys struggling with the burden of being handed even more power.
What we find out about Velma is she is a massive bigot, which does explain why she decided to get the boot polish out. Something I thought only a Canadian Prime Minister could get away with, although it seems like HBO was a big fan of that as well. Look, when people said return to traditional entertainment, nobody meant this. But that is far from the show's only problem. They have an obsession with showing high school students in positions that should be making the police knock on the creators' doors and start rummaging through their computers. I can't show you what's happening beneath this line because if I did, I'd get banned. And for some reason, they think the way to balance all of this out is to make 2 cockroaches bang on screen. You couldn't make this up. No, if there's one thing for sure, it's that Velma is absolute trash. And they just think they can get away with it because they attack the right people.
And how do you feel about race-blind casting, Daphne?
It is weird that blind casting would involve hiring the best people for the job. But if one thing's for sure, there's not an ounce of talent on display here. This show was the exact opposite of blind casting.
Well, as an Asian woman, I think it's cool.
Because I get more jobs, don't you see? It's all about self-interest and personal greed and entitlement. Of course I should be in that position.
Yes. I wasn't expecting such an enlightened answer.
In a show that's as shallow as a duck's backside, the one thing nobody expected you to be was honest. Especially when you already said this.
This is my story, told my way.
She admits she's a liar right up front. None of this happened. It's a weird fantasy delusion, because it's not the truth. It's my truth. In fact, the entire thing reeks of being made by someone who's got a chip on their shoulder. The kind of person who goes through life complaining that somebody else's inferiority complex is better than theirs.
She has no brain!
I mean, somebody had to say it. The story starts proper with Velma being investigated for murder, and the show thinks it's really clever because they made Velma insufferable on purpose.
I get a phone call and a handsome detective I infuriate with my indifference.
Even going so far as to think that she can walk out of a police station just for no reason whatsoever, but no, it's definitely the police's fault.
You know what? We're done here. Peace.
We're not done here, Velma.
In fact, the most surprising thing about this scene was the police officers, which I can only assume the message was that no, all cops. All of them. And when I say I can only assume, I'm being honest or modest. Everybody knows. Because the one thing this show isn't is subtle.
I thought lesbians were good at solving crimes. It's like the one positive stereotype perpetuated by cop shows.
I am very smart. Yes, far from being the Velma of the original series, otherwise known as Velma. This is a Velma who's solely been brought up on Wikipedia, Marks, and topical news Twitch commentary.
And yet you and Daphne used to be best friends, isn't that right?
Yeah, until Daphne got hot and ditched me. I could kill them all!
It really does seem like this is just the writer's personal hang-up from their life. Oh, I used to have loads of friends, and then they all got hot, and I didn't. You ever considered it's not the way you look, but your beliefs which are the man-repellent?
The only way we're gonna convince the sheriff you're innocent is if you help us find Brenda's actual murderer.
Yeah, if I have a complex long-term problem that I need a solution for, the first person I'm going to consult is a child. When people say children are our future, they mean our future, not the present. Because in the present, they're morons. Over the last few years, they've been licking toilet seats, eating Tide Pods, and made TikTok blow up. Let's not consult them about matters of great importance quite yet. Now, if I did need advice on how many Smarties it's possible to shove up my nose, then I might consult them. But for everything else, I think there's probably a better source of information.
Ah! Hey, watch where you're going, jerk. Oh, hey, Fred. Velma from school.
I can't recognize people who aren't hot. Doctor says it's
I
based.
did think he was going to say, my doctor says it's based. I have a massive problem remembering people's names that I absolutely don't care about.
Basically sickle cell for rich guys.
But if you want an image that sums up the entire show, it's this. This is a guy who's solely been put in the show to be the butt of every single joke, to humiliate him because they're so insecure in their own lives. I can't imagine having such deep-rooted mental problems that you have to villainize an entire group of people based solely off their physical characteristics. But then again, I'm not the kind of person that would make a kid's cartoon to scream it at the world.
She has no brain!
You've had a long day? I was accused of a murder I didn't commit.
Who was the victim? Comedy.
People only think you murdered Brenda because...
Voted most revengey. I know.
No, because you're a weirdo.
And boy, is he absolutely not wrong. Velma, the self-insert character, goes on a very strange arc, not just creating the team to solve the crimes, but first we have to go through what can only be described as a scene of absolute horror.
Oh, the baby's kicking.
Yeah, she has a hand reaching out of her stomach like something out of The Exorcist. It's incredibly creepy and unnerving, which I think is exactly the point. People from Los Angeles want to villainize pregnancy and make it seem very creepy. Color me shocked.
You're not real. You're not real.
I am real! A real man, Father!
Because all men are just really insecure deep down about their masculinity. It'll never cease to amaze me just how little modern women understand about men, considering men will just tell them, oh no, you're actually just really insecure all the time, repressing your emotions.
What are you doing out here, Fred?
Trying to pull myself together so I can be the man my father expects me to be.
Actually not a bad goal in life. It is a bit weird though that you decided to do that behind the bins. And let's be honest, what the creators of this show think a man should be wouldn't exactly be healthy.
And I want to be as manly as him, but since Brenda died, I can't stop crying like a total puss.
I get it. I have this whole thing with my mom.
Did she put her cigars out on you?
Told you. I want to be like my dad because he's actually masculine. Oh, by the way, he put his cigars out on me. He probably did that because he just wouldn't let his emotions run rampant and completely destroy his life. This is my first time watching the episode. I didn't know what was coming, and yet it's just so predictable with its attitude. Because when it comes to Los Angeles, once you know one belief, you know all of them. Then we get Velma's backstory, which is almost an origin story for the origin story, and believe me when I tell you, you don't care.
The police found my mom's car abandoned and empty except for her glasses and a single wrapped gift. So I put on my mom's glasses and vowed I wouldn't open her gift until I found her.
Are you a total moron, or do you occasionally take a day off? Are you telling me that at the crime scene of your mum's disappearance, you were left one singular wrapped possible clue, and you thought, I'm not even going to look at this clue until I've worked out the entire mystery? What if inside the box it just tells you where she is, you insane lunatic? This is like Sherlock Holmes discovering a locked room mystery and deciding he's not going to unlock the room.
Wow, after hearing that, I not only feel emotionally hooked, I understand the stakes of your journey, Velma.
That's weird, because I listened to all of it and I still don't give a shit.
Velma! There you are!
Norville?
You didn't answer my VMs. Voicemails. But I had to find you because I still don't know if you listened to my VMs. Voicemails.
Yes, this is Norville, who's meant to be Shaggy, who isn't just an entirely different person. He also acts like an entirely different person. It's not the same character at all in any way, shape, or form, as you'd expect, because he's got dangly bits. And also, when half your cast decide to get out the boot polish, you've kind of pushed the boundaries so much that you can't really make them a stoner like they were in the original. Look, there are just some stereotypes you can push too far, but that's not the only problem with him. Because of the whole voicemails, I don't know who these people are. I don't know where I do know where they live. I was going to say I didn't, but let's face it, it's Los Angeles. These are not normal people. They don't exist in the real world, but they do exist inside this writer's tiny little world. Write what you know used to be advice for great material. The problem is, when you've actually done nothing with your life, what you know turns out to be this. It's very difficult to write a good story when your only experience in the world comes through Twitter. Why are we calling him Norville? Well, he's not Shaggy, is he? So we can't give him the name. Oh, and Scooby Doo doesn't exist in the show either. You see, we can't have any of the original cast because those are characters that people actually like, which means they would 100% guaranteed just overshadow Velma, which everybody will despise. I mean, at this point in the show, I have to ask, is that deliberate? Because much like She-Hulk, Galadriel, and most of the main characters in this vein, they seem deliberately custom designed to be as horrible as possible.
Your mother didn't go missing because you solved a mystery. She left us.
No, she didn't. Because if Mom just left us, it means she didn't love us, which is insane.
Very understandable, though, because I've met you. I'm 16 minutes into this, and I can't believe I'm still here myself, let alone be forced to share a house with you. You want to solve her murder? I'm surprised someone didn't have to solve yours.
Sure, you were a huge jerk, Dad.
Sure you were. That's expected. I mean, you are a man and you're married, so obviously all of the problems have got to be your fault. They can't be the other side's, because otherwise why would they get all of the money and the kids and the divorce? That would be crazy. And one thing we're all sure about is it definitely can't be Velma's.
I was...
Well, this is weird, because it's not unexpected and surprising at the same time. Obviously, she's an arse. I just didn't expect the show to admit it.
Mom wasn't taken. She left because she hated us.
That's a mystery I could have solved in the first 15 seconds of this episode.
Yes.
And you can start changing your personality to fit in and avoid prison.
Can we just send her to prison anyway? I think we'll all just be better off.
Woohoo!
Unfortunately, I'm British. I can't actually replicate that much enthusiasm.
No, you're right. It's time to stop feeling guilty and move on.
That's not the message that they said. No, keep feeling guilty. You were an arse. Feel more guilty. Feel all of that guilt and use it to change you from the person that you are. It's like, no, of course it can't be me. I know I drove someone away, but I'm fine the way I am. Deluded, miserable, and completely evil. So then she puts the present in the trash without opening it, even though it could be a clue or at least explain something. Wouldn't you be curious? You're supposed to be a detective. You are one gross human being. Then she comes to school. Oh, I'm a changed person. I'm so glamorous that the sun literally shines out of my backside.
Are you an exchange student from a more sexually liberated country?
Ugh. I never truly appreciated the word cringe until that moment when my entire face and body just recoiled in disgust.
I'm just unburdened by the belief I caused my mother to go missing.
You did cause your mother to go missing. What do you even mean? You were the sole reason for it, because you were absolutely repulsive. How do you take I am the reason that my mother left and suddenly turn it into, that means I'm not the reason why she left? I mean, I was saying that you were a complete deluded lunatic, but I didn't expect the show to actually just admit it.
Well, now that you're not a total dog.
Let's not be hasty, there's still plenty of room. I want to talk about that light, because either the sun is coming from her arse, or she shoved a torch up there. But Fred gives a speech about how she's clearly disgusting, but not a murderer. He's supposed to be the butt of the joke, but that speech was the most believable thing in the show.
But last night, we spoke. And yes, while it was awful, it is just a scared little boy who wants our friendship.
At this point, I'm willing to believe it. Yeah, that was all the viewers at frequent parts of the show as well.
Why wouldn't he? If I were a rich white dude, I'd kill everybody just to get away with it.
One of the things that mystery shows have in common is that the people solving them have a broad range of knowledge about the real world because they have to make links between information that other people don't see. So it is weird then when Velma has absolutely no idea how the world works at all. I would not be surprised if this episode just ended up with her talking to a psychiatrist and it was all a trip.
I guess I needed more than 3 minutes online to make a mental health diagnosis, didn't I?
I'm more than willing to make one for you right now, though. I've had 21 minutes and 15 seconds. It's not because I couldn't learn more about you after 21 minutes, I just don't want to. So she goes investigating to see if Fred has done the murder, has a whole broad range of hallucinations. And you know the delusions, because she's like, oh no, everyone's after me. And you know full well, in reality, everyone would want to stay away from it.
I'm weird and no one likes me.
That's not true.
That is 100% true. I'd go further than she did and say it's the reason aliens haven't contacted us yet. Came down to investigate. She's like, oh no, Velma's down there. Put a zone around it. No one's going here. I don't care how many resources they have. That is not worth it.
I like you.
Okay, that's not true. I don't believe that at all. I know she's dying, mate, but the last thing she hears shouldn't be a lie.
Like you.
Okay, maybe 2 likes cancel each other out. I mean, they shouldn't, but maybe he's just really bad at maths.
Your face is why I get up in the morning.
Your face is why I hope I don't. I mean, how about we compromise and I say that her face is what makes me laugh? Because nothing else in the show has, and this is meant to be a comedy, so probably the best I'm gonna get.
Make it super cringy.
You're the main character in all my dreams.
If we learn one thing about Velma, it's that she thinks she's the main character in everything. Do you remember that introduction?
My name is Velma Dinkley, and this is my origin story. This is my story, told my way.
But obviously the butt of the joke walks in, and apparently this is a guy who hasn't gone through puberty. Oh, I just want to be a real man, because I'm just a boy at the moment and always will be.
And never respect me as the man and unquestioned leader that I am meant to be.
Yeah, it's just the deep-rooted insecurity, which is obviously a key integral point of masculinity. Oh, how everybody has this. One of the problems with trying to villainize half the population and make them turn into you have to come up with such absurd reasoning as to why they're bad. All of them basically just become a reflection of you and your own projection. But at that point, he gets taken into custody.
If I found humor attractive, I would be all over you right now.
And I would be turning into an Olympic sprinter. If you want world records broken, that's the way you do it. Everyone needs a bit of encouragement to train. And after they catch him, he's like, of course I didn't kill her, I just paid her off. What do you think I would do in that scenario? And that was episode 1, and I have to ask, was there even a plot? We go through the entire thing, crying, whining, and putting in as many derogatory stereotypes as physically possible. Get to the end, capture a guy, and go, oh yeah, actually, he's innocent at the end of it. Why is this even a show? Because this isn't Scooby Doo. It's not entertaining. It's not funny. And I don't think it appeals to anybody. Much like She-Hulk, I think this was a show written solely for the writer's room. It was them pouring their hearts out into the page about all the problems that they've had in their lives. And don't you know all these things are horrible? Then they tell it to the world and everyone turns around. It's like, you are weird. I am so glad I don't live where you do, because if that is your norm, then can you please stay over there and stop broadcasting it to the world? You're creepy. And the weird thing is, Velma publishes 2 episodes every time they put anything out, and I don't think most people want to watch one of them. So HBO, please, let us know. What did you think when you signed off this show? Did you know that this is what you were going to get? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe for more videos like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.